good. If you're happy, I'm happy.
Sure, I look very red, but that's because of all the red lights. And then that's fine. We'll figure it out.
There it is. There it is. It's Christmas. It's okay. It's if you're looking red at any other time of year, it's I guess Valentine's Day,
Halloween, Valentine's Day,
Halloween. Yeah, Halloween. Yeah,
Fourth of
red
July,
takes on a
Canada Day.
different.
Actually, a lot of holidays.
Now that you say that, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Jake, thanks so much for chatting with me. I really do appreciate it. Um, Cup of Cheer is a lot of fun, and it's as a fan of Hallmark Christmas movies myself, a self-proclaimed, all the marks are there, and it's pretty fun.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's funny to hear like fans of Hallmark Christmas movies really like it, and people who hate Hallmark Christmas movies really like it, which is this funny in between where everybody can get along.
It's true. It's true. Well, I mean, let's start with though. Just with the film, what was it that? Where did you get the idea for it?
Yeah, so I after I had released my first feature and had done some other things, everybody had told me like the real money is in making Hallmark Christmas movie after Hallmark Christmas movie. Stop doing anything like weird or quirky or whatever you do and just make a Hallmark Christmas movie. And so I didn't do that naturally, but I thought about it. And what ended up coming out after like an hour of thinking about it was to do the opposite of that and to make what is essentially a Hallmark Christmas movie. If you are just looking at it or just listening to it, there are elements that really look and feel like a Hallmark Christmas movie, but if you're paying attention, you would know that it is the exact opposite of that in every way. So that was kind of the idea. I always wanted to make a movie like my favorite movies, favorite filmmakers, like a Mel Brooks movie or like Airplane or David Wayne movie. Like they came together, Wet Hot American Summer. I love all of those silly, stupid comedies, and just wanted to do something that was like 90 minutes of jokes, nothing else.
Yeah, that's one of the amazing things about the film is that it's always moving. It's always moving and a very rapid fire. Um, you actually, in one of the things you said there, you were talking about how if you want to make any money, make Hallmark Christmas movies. Why? What is it about those films that, from your perspective, that they've blown up to this point? Like that's the funny thing about this satire. You sort of have to get the jokes, but we all
Yeah, you
know
have
them.
to have
We
a
all know them.
cultural reference of what a Hallmark Christmas movie is. And even if you've never seen one, I think we all understand what that looks like either way. Um, so I think there's just, I guess to put it in a very cynical term, the world is a horrible, awful place.
Mm.
And there's something nice about turning on a movie where everybody in this cute little small town is nice to each other and wants the best for each other, and everything is decorated so nicely, and there's always a perfect little snowfall in the air. And I think it's just comforting to watch that, fold your laundry to that, have a nice cup of hot chocolate while you're watching it. And Cup of Cheer is still that, it is still um, it's still a movie that looks like that and that you can kind of turn on as a tradition every year, but it is one where the more you pay attention, the more jokes you get, the more stuff in the background you catch on to.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, you know what? And therein lies another question too. Is thinking about that because with any we talked about before, or just mentioned that you have to understand the rules to make the satire. But Hallmark Christmas thing, it's funny that we call them Hallmark Christmas actually as well, because that's just the company that does them the most. But it's become sort
Yeah,
of
there's
ubiquitous.
everybody does them. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, um,
Like calling a Kleenex. Like that's not the brand that I have, but it's still a Kleenex.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's pretty wild. So, but everybody that, like you said before, you sort of hit the line where people that don't like them find it funny, and the people that do like them find it funny. So I'm just wondering for you, because they are often mocked, where does the line of satire begin for these films?
Yeah, that was a lot that I kind of studied before making this. And we had a list of rules when writing it, like
Hmm.
specifically what could be done and what we had to stick to, because otherwise it can go off the wall in any various directions. And there's certainly, the death of the spoof movie in the early 2000s was like Scary Movie 100 and not another movie and all of these
Yeah.
things that killed the genre because they were very pop culture heavy and they were spoofing something that was current, but by the time the movie came out 6 months later was out of date and now would not be funny at all.
Hmm.
So one of the big rules was also don't make it make it timeless. Don't reference anything in particular. So I think that works. And another one was, play it straight all the time.
Hmm.
Make sure that nobody in the movie is treating it like it's a comedy. And yeah, so I think there has to be a reverence for the movies. You have to actually appreciate the movie if you're going to make fun of the movie. So I get the appeal of a Hallmark Christmas movie. I can watch a cheesy Hallmark Christmas movie like anybody else. So there has to be, I think, a level of love of what you're spoofing to come through. Otherwise, it comes across as very cynical.
Yeah, I that one of the words that I'm going to use with the film is affection. Like
Hmm.
this is although the humor gets wild in spots, it's not mean spirited.
Right.
It's a very interesting line to walk. And as a viewer of that type of film, you're not even mocking the viewer. Like you're just sort of
Hmm.
playing with the tropes. I'd like to touch. You mentioned the word timeless. How did you go about making it sort of timeless? How does that happen in a film like this?
Yeah, it's a very careful, I think, attention to detail and a lot of thought put into the script where sometimes there was even a specific wording of a joke might have been too current
Mm,
or sometimes like when it was written, we were in the height of Trumpism and all this other stuff. And
yeah.
sometimes there is a willingness to want to make it a little bit political here and there, but especially because the genre itself is so like wholesome America, and you want to maybe push back against that in certain ways, which is there in subtext, but like there was just a very strong desire to make sure that every year you watch this, it doesn't, there's nothing that you wouldn't understand that you would have had to know from the year it came out. So I think that, and also just even like the decorations are kind of timeless. The lights, the trees, the setting, the town, it all looks as it would have looked 30 years ago, and hopefully as it would look 30 years from now. Christmas is kind of Christmas and doesn't change a lot if you're using the classic, tropes of it.
Well, it's interesting you say that because it's funny. Like there is such a nostalgia associated with the holidays,
Mm-hmm.
which we've seen Christmas comedies before. They poke at fun at that nostalgia and whatnot, but there is something just with the holiday. You sort of look for certain markers. And with that being said, I mean, so much of the film focuses on the power of a cup of cheer, if you will, a cup of hot
Mm-hmm.
chocolate. What is it that you think? Why is it that you think a cup of hot chocolate or that nostalgia has such a power at this time of year?
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's something like childlike about it that is like, even just for me, like if it snows still to this day, if I don't have to go anywhere, it's like a little bit exciting. It's like that. I was like, oh, is school going to be canceled? Are we going to get to stay home and build a snowman and drink hot chocolate? There's something really nice about the idea of just like not having to go anywhere, sitting inside by the fire, drinking hot chocolate in a snowstorm. That is all very Christmassy and nostalgic. And I think that endures like, I mean, even from a practical standpoint, like Christmas lights, I think were invented by Edison. You're going to get a deep dive into Christmas history here because I do my
Go
research.
for it.
And
I'm
I'm probably
I'm here
wrong.
for it. Let's
But I
go.
think Christmas lights were like invented by Edison or some promo thing to promote the incandescent light bulb, and just specifically at a time of year when it gets dark so early, it was just like a practical thing of let's have some nice colorful lights and let's not spend all of our evenings in darkness when it's cold and shitty outside.
That's really interesting. I did not know that about Christmas
I'm
lights.
probably wrong. I probably made it up.
Well, there it is. I can't challenge you unless we,
Yeah,
pause and Google it right now. It's like, hold on. Let's fact check this.
yeah, you should fact check me. This could be fake news. Yeah.
That's it. There it is. No, but it is true that there's just these certain things you just sort of expect that draw you in about the holiday season, and I think that's where the room it lies for the humor as well.
Hmm.
Because like you said, there's something about, that in that childlikeness, but we as adults you can sort of look at it with a little bit of a different lens. uh,
Yeah, and especially like, some of the most out there jokes, some of the most R-rated gags and stuff. Like, I think that's funny when you contrast it with the Christmas of it all. Like, to have people say such filthy things in such a beautiful, warm, Christmassy setting there's something funny and unexpected about that too.
right, it sort of breaks down those, well, again, those tropes, right, that
Yeah.
you're dissecting so well.
Mhm.
um and did I see correctly, did you shoot this in Aurelia? I'm from Newmarket, I know Aurelia very well.
Yes, yeah. Actually, this was my second feature that I shot in Aurelia, and it's such a nice. It is like the town from the Hallmark movies in a lot of ways. It is so wholesome and welcoming, and all of the businesses that we shot in, everybody is always so supportive of us to the point that now, my first movie that I shot there was like 5, 6 years ago. I was the first real feature that shot there. Everybody was excited about it. People came out to see the filming. And now it's so popular that like, oh, another movie. Okay, we'll get out of here. Because I think people have caught on. Just it is like that town in
Yeah.
movies, and a lot of Hallmark Christmas movies have shot there since.
Yeah, I love it up there. I love it up there. Lake Couchiching is beautiful. Jake, the film's a lot of fun. I'm just wondering what you hope audiences take away from the film.
That's a great question. Yeah, I've always actually when making it, I assumed 50% of people would love it and 50% of people would hate it. And thankfully, that's not really been true. More people have loved it than have hated it. There are people that hate it because they turn it on expecting a wholesome Hallmark Christmas movie. And a lot of grandmothers, I think, are not expecting what it is. But what I really have always wanted from this movie, and from any comedy, and as a lover of comedy in general, is like just enjoy the silliness and the stupidness of an hour and a half of jokes. If you don't like a joke, there's another joke 10 seconds later. Comedy is so subjective, but there's such a broad thing. There's something for everybody. And like I said, the world kind of sucks sometimes. And at Christmas, you just want to sit down and watch something that is fun and wholesome. This is not wholesome, but like just something that makes you feel good. And I think there's something so nice about watching a movie and for an hour and a half saying like, this is so stupid, and not being able to help yourself laughing. So that's what I want. I want people to laugh for an hour and a half and think that it's funny.
Jake, thanks so much for your time. I really do wish you the best, and for the film as well. Thanks so much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I will talk to you when we get that sequel out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Grab a second cup.
Yes, another cup of cheer.
Another cup of cheer. All right. Thanks
Second cup would sue us.
That's right. Thanks so much, Jake.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. Thanks. Some great questions as well. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Don't worry, like you never